Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how long does it actually take to change your life. So this is something that clients will sometimes ask me, and this is probably something you've asked yourself. If you've ever set a goal or started on, getting your dream body, starting that career, changing your financial situation, changing your health, whatever it is, you might be putting timelines and deadlines on yourself. And I know I've definitely had this experience where you say, oh, this will take a month, this will take 2 months, only for a month or 2 months to come around and for the goal not to be achieved yet. So the issue is not, it's not a motivation problem. It's not that you haven't been doing the right things. It's that you've been thinking about time and transformation in the wrong way. So psychologists say it takes 21 days to form a new habit. Teachers like Tony Robbins say that change happens in an instant. But the truth is, you're not years away from the thing that you want. No matter what your goal is, you're not months away, you're not years away. Just because it took someone else 5 years, that doesn't have to apply to you, because the truth is you're only ever an energetic shift away from the thing that you desire. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down 2 key points to get you thinking differently about time. So you stop slowing yourself down so much, using the logical, humanistic perspective of time as a marker to track your progress. And you can just outsmart that basically. And then I'm going to be breaking down the core things that have been slowing you down so you can bypass them and essentially collapse time to get to whatever goal that you desire. Point number 1. Time is an illusion. I've mentioned this before and I'm going to keep mentioning it, because so long as you keep thinking about time logically, you're going to be slowing yourself down dramatically. And this is something that I've experienced over and over again, but I'm going to give you a kind of strange, actually negative example so that you can really wire this in. Change really does happen as soon as your energy changes. It's nothing to do with time. When I moved to Spain, I started driving here on the other side of the road, and I had a little bit of an incident. I had a little crash. Now, thankfully, no one was hurt, but it took one instant, one moment, that one event for my energy to shift completely from being a confident, capable driver to not wanting to drive ever again at all. Not physically feeling like I was able to drive, feeling like I'd never driven a car in my life. Okay, so that's a kind of negative example, but it only takes one dramatic shift in your energy for everything around you, for your behavior, for what you're perceiving outside you to change. So when I had that car crash, all of a sudden, I used to drive on the road kind of on autopilot and feeling fine and safe and understanding where I was driving and not really worried about anything, as you do once you drive for a while. You don't really care about threats or other cars. You just naturally know how to drive around. As soon as I had that incident, everything I was perceiving changed. Suddenly I could see all these threats all the time. I was hypersensitive to the dangers around me at all times. And this is the thing that I need you to know. You're putting time on something, so this can be applied to a positive or a negative example, but really, if you shift your energy, immediately your perception of what already exists changes. This is why I'm saying your energy is the thing that actually moves you. So I'll give this example that I always give because I think it's the easiest way to conceptualize this. Time in the non-physical, so outside this 3D material plane that we're currently in and above in the higher dimensional realms, time doesn't exist. The passing of time is not experienced in the higher dimensional realms. So time is basically not a thing, and what happens instead is every single dimension, past, present, future, exists all at once, like layers, like this. And I like to think of it like floors in a building. You've got these infinite number of floors all on top of each other, and you could be on floor number 11 thinking, okay, it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 million steps for me to get to floor 58. And you're thinking logically with the steps in terms of, okay, maybe it's going to take 365 days, 365 steps for me to get up to there. When really all it takes is a shift in your energy. In the non-physical, all of these things already exist all at once, simultaneously. And the way that you've landed on this 11th floor, this experience, this timeline that you've been living on, is because of your energy. Everything that's in front of you right now is a byproduct of an energy that you have embodied in the past. And the only way you actually move in this building of reality to another floor or another timeline is by moving your internal energy. It's nothing to do with time at all. And actually, time can be a weapon that's used against you to slow you down if you keep thinking so logically in terms of days, months, and years. Because the only thing that actually matters is your energy. So this brings me to point number 2 in changing the way that you're thinking about time. Your frequency is the key. Your frequency is the only thing that matters. Your whole life could change, your situation could change, you could achieve that goal in a very non-logical time frame, so long as you change your energy to be resonant with what you want. So I experienced this pretty dramatically in my relationships. And I remember I was in this cycle of going from toxic relationship to toxic relationship for a really long time. I got this vision when I was in a relationship about 2 years ago. And once again, it was a very unhealthy relationship, but I got a vision of the partner that I actually wanted. I knew that the partner that I was with at the time was not the same character, was not that person that I was envisioning building a life with and a family with and everything. I knew that on some level. But instead of me shifting my energy, doing the inner work to become the woman I needed to be to attract that partner, I kept fighting in my reality. I kept fighting my partner at the time. I kept trying to make that partner become the partner that I wanted and was visualizing and dreaming of. And it just didn't work. And if I had stayed fighting in my reality and fighting trying to make that relationship work and trying to make it fit, I would have stayed stuck in this cycle, and it would have taken me decades to actually attract the goal relationship that I wanted. What made things change really, really quickly was the moment I took radical accountability for my energy and I started healing my own wounds that were causing me to attract toxic partners and unhealthy relationships. And I started becoming the woman that I knew I would be in that dream relationship. And then it was almost like, the reason I'm giving this example is because it was almost like it was in an instant. It was kind of slow and then it was so fast. It was all of a sudden. So this is what I'm saying. You just change your energy and then the thing that you want will just correspond to you. It will come out of thin air. So I went from constantly chasing relationships, constantly being stuck in these patterns. I started healing my stuff and my energy shifted so dramatically when I did that, to the point that I didn't even want a relationship. It was the last thing on my mind. I had fallen so in love with myself, so in love with my life, so in love with my own energy. I became whole, happy, secure, and so just loving all on my own for probably the first time in my life. And the moment that I stepped fully into that energy, that was when my dream partner appeared out of thin air in a way that made no sense. And it happened extremely quickly as soon as I fully embodied the energy of just being that dream woman who was already in that relationship. The key thing was I wasn't in an energy of chasing or waiting or looking for it. I was perfectly whole and content and happy without it. And that signals that you already are it, that you already have it. So becoming an energetic match to what you desire and collapsing time to get there requires you to embody the energy of already having it. So you're not waiting and you're not chasing. You just are it already. So I was so strong in that energy that when my ideal partner came in front of me, I was almost like, no, because I was so good without it. And that's how it came in so quickly for me. And you can apply this to anything. All that matters is you change the way that you're embodying your energy. So this is your beliefs, your identity, your thoughts, your dominant emotions, where you're placing your attention. And the most important thing is you have to feel the feelings of being there now, and you have to embody the energy of being there now and not waiting for it anymore. That is the most important thing. And this ties in with something I speak about a lot, but you have to stop using your external reality as a permission slip to feel a certain way. You leading in your energy and deciding, I'm feeling like I have it now already, is what creates your external world. When you lead in the energy of already having it, the external world has no choice but to change. Your doubt in this process, your doubt in yourself, and your need to keep searching for evidence outside you in order to feel a certain way is the thing that's slowing you down from getting there. It's the only thing that's really slowing you down. So instead of treating your external reality as some sort of God that gets to tell you how to feel, figure out, how would you feel if you already had the thing that you say you want? Because the only reason you actually want something is because you want the feeling state that you've attached to it. And this is called the law of reversibility. I think Neville Goddard speaks about this, but essentially you collapse time by taking the thing that you desire, figuring out the feeling that you've attached to that thing, because it's the feeling that you truly want, allowing yourself to feel that feeling now. That's what collapses time and gets you the associated desire within moments, okay? As soon as you step into the energy of embodying the version of you who already has what you want, that's it. The manifestation at that point is done. That's all you have to do. So I'm going to get into now the key things that really are going to slow you down when it comes to changing your life. The first thing that slows you down when it comes to changing your life is being logical. I could talk about this till the cows come home, but your brain, your logical side of your brain is always going to be thinking in days, in minutes, in hours, in months, in years. And if you want a transformation to happen so quickly that it doesn't make sense, you need to abandon logic. If I had used my logic in planning this move to Spain, it would have taken me years. It probably never would have happened the way that it did. I got this intuition, this feeling to move to Spain, and my logic was telling me, you don't have enough money banked, you don't know where to live, you don't know anybody there, there's things you need to do at home, you haven't set up enough clients in your marketing business, like all of these things. My logical brain was telling me, there's no way you're going to find somewhere decent to live that would not stretch you financially. You're not going to be able to find the actual atmosphere in the place that you want to live. My logic was telling me all these things and all these reasons why it was going to be really difficult for me to move, why it was going to take a really long time for me to figure this out. But I didn't listen to it. I followed my vision and I followed my intuition, and I said, okay, this is what I want. This is the vision that I'm having. I wanted to live in a villa. I wanted to live beside the sea. I wanted to live with entrepreneurs, not a party house. I wanted like-minded people so I could get to know people immediately when I moved here, and I wouldn't be on my own because I was really worried about just not making friends and not knowing anybody, right? I wanted the rent to be below a certain level. And so these were the things that I felt I wanted. And my logic was telling me, you're going to be searching for years to find that thing. And I didn't listen. I allowed myself to play in my intuition, to play in my vision, to feel the feelings of excitement and joy like it was already done. And I used to go for these walks, listening mostly to Rufus Du Sol, but listening to really good music and picturing living in that house already with those people and feeling those feelings as if I was walking right back to the door of that house, on this walk, right? I was walking as that version of me. I was feeling those feelings. I did that almost every day for just a few days. And I'm not joking. I went on Facebook on a group for buying and renting properties in Spain. And I'd already been in that group for a while, and I was searching and searching and searching, couldn't find anything. I went on a few days after doing this, and there was a post there. Entrepreneurs needed for this house share, villa, wherever, beachfront. Exactly. Every single thing. Exactly like I described that I said I wanted. And this was not a common thing, by the way. I had been through all these groups, all these rental sites, and it was not a common thing to see a house of entrepreneurs and business-minded people. I didn't see one single post like that before this. So this is why I'm saying it happened within a few days that I found this. And I just knew this is mine. I had the call with the guy. I was like, this is already mine. Of course, he was like, yes, it's yours. And within a few weeks, I moved. I packed my bags. I moved. I landed there. And through that house share, I met my now partner, right? So all the dots just connected. But if I had used my logic, I would have waited a year. I would have waited 6 months, a year. It might have never even happened. Okay. So this is why I'm saying your logical mind is going to slow you down, but your intuition is the feeling divine component of you. And I want you to remember one thing. Your logic can only give you ways how and information based off what you physically have experienced in this world up until this moment on the timeline that you've been on. Okay. But if you have a desire that's on another timeline, like for me, this villa in Spain and this big experience that I wanted, that was a different timeline. Like that was me shifting timelines. Okay. Your logic is not going to be able to tell you how to get there because it hasn't physically experienced that yet. But your intuition can tell you how to get there. 100% it can. You've just got to start trusting it. So your intuition is that quiet voice. It's like that feeling, those nudges, those flashes of a vision that your logic is going to try and talk you out of, because your logical mind is going to see this idea or this vision and it's going to say, that's ridiculous because you've never experienced it. But you're not staying on this timeline. So what this version of you's logic is telling you is delusional doesn't matter, because the version of you who's already there and living it, it makes sense for them. They know how to do it. They know how to figure it out. Until you start shifting towards that timeline, you've got to use your intuition, play in your vision, and allow yourself to hold the energy of your desire. And that's what's going to get you moving towards there. And then the more you just start holding the energy of that, and the more you allow yourself to play in these visions without needing them to make sense, eventually what happens is your energy actually starts priming into this timeline. Your energy becomes familiarized with the energy of this timeline, and then your logic actually starts catching up. You don't need to keep getting in the way with your logic. You're slowing things down. Change can happen instantly, so fast when you let yourself lead with delusion. You in fact probably need some delusion. Yeah, you do. If your desire is on another timeline, you need delusion. You need your intuition and you need delusion, because that's the only kind of GPS system you have to getting there, because your logic can't know how to get there. So your logic is rooted in your past. It's rooted in this timeline that you've been on. But if you're not staying here, it's irrelevant. You don't have to keep listening to it. And listening to it is what's going to keep you trapped on this timeline. Ignoring it and following that divine, non-physical component of you, your intuitive side, it's what's going to pull you onto another timeline. The second thing that's going to slow you down is avoiding the inner work to become the version of you who's already on your desired timeline. And by inner work, I mean processing your traumas, healing, releasing blocked emotions, and rewiring your beliefs. This stuff is not something that people want to run headfirst at, but this is the stuff that if you work hard on this stuff, the inner work, you do not have to work hard externally. When you work hard at releasing emotional blocks and wounds and rewiring the way that you're thinking about things, everything around you just shifts in line with that. You don't have to force anything in your reality. You don't have to chase anything in your reality, because removing those emotional blocks and those emotional wounds actually just naturally shifts your identity. And then you naturally will have the thing that you say you want. So when you avoid looking at maybe some uncomfortable things that you haven't processed and you haven't healed, that's what is slowing you down. And this is something that I see all the time with my clients and with myself. There's kind of these cycles of transformation, and a lot of people get stuck at the phase where maybe shadow parts are getting purged or there's wounds being triggered, and they're like, okay, no, I'm going backwards. This is bad. I'm never going to be able to get over here. When in actuality, this is basically what can happen when you're moving actually towards what you say you want. If there's parts of you, parts of your being, parts of your shadow self that do not energetically resonate with this reality, they're going to get triggered as you start moving towards it. And they're getting triggered so that they can come to the surface, so that you can feel them, to heal them. There's a really great quote that I heard. I'm not sure where I saw it, but you don't actually release emotional wounds. You just digest them. So you've got to actually feel the things that you're avoiding. Go towards these traumas that you haven't processed with an open heart and an open mind and feel them fully. And that is what releases them. And until you do that, you're going to stay trapped in these cycles, and you're going to keep kind of getting knocked back every time you're just about to break through. You're not going to make it through because you're avoiding feeling the thing that's blocking you that needs to be released. So I have an example of this. For a long time, I wanted to record in this studio, and I was putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And I wouldn't even admit to myself that I was putting it off, but I knew, my intuition was like, no, this is really going to help your content. It's going to unlock all these parts of you. You need to do it. But I was just avoiding. I was avoiding the inner work that I needed to do to finally feel confident enough to come in here and record content. And what happened was I kept going around in these cycles of frustration and beating myself up and never actually moving because I was avoiding the internal block that was stopping me from moving forward. The moment that I finally sat with it, I basically discovered that it was this whole wound around perfectionism, validation, and this whole inner block that I didn't know I still had. And I really just had to sit in it. So for 2 days, I was super down. I was feeling really bad, but I let myself feel it. I let myself sit in it. And the thing, I have other videos about shadow work and everything. I'll leave them down below. But the thing about, when these emotional wounds get triggered is while you're feeling them, you don't really get to rationalize them. You just have to feel them. And then at the end, you'll figure out what the whole source of it was, what the message was, and how you can move through it. But you have to feel it first in order to get the wisdom from it and get the clarity at the end of it. So I sat for 2 days just feeling bad, not knowing why, feeling stuck, not being able to create, feeling really, really blocked. And then at the end, after I fully let myself feel all the emotions, I figured out it was to do with perfectionism, it was to do with validation, it was to do with these things that happened when I was younger where I didn't feel good enough. And I could see the whole picture, the whole block, and I could see that I had let that go. And when I went into it and felt it and released it like that and digested it like that, I freed myself from it. It integrated into my energy. It no longer blocked me. And then I was able to come in and record in the studio. Now, I was still nervous, but I was able to actually finally do it. So this is what I mean. Avoiding your emotional wounds, avoiding the healing, avoiding processing things that need to be processed is going to slow you down so much, is going to keep you so stuck. You want to start running head first at feeling the things that you're avoiding. That's what's going to set you free from them. Because as soon as you release this emotional block from your energy, you will shift into the identity and the energy that you need to be in order to resonate with that next level that you're trying to get to. But so long as this block is in your energy, you will not be able to go there. Okay, the last thing that slows people down when they're changing their life is looking for evidence. Looking for evidence is basically you texting the universe and saying, I don't have it. And the universe will text you back and will say, yeah, you don't. That's essentially what's happening. When you keep looking for evidence, you're like, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it. And what we spoke about a minute ago in terms of frequency, the universe responds exactly to the energy you're embodying. So the moment that you energetically signal, I have it already, it will be set in motion and you will begin to have it physically, okay? The atoms around you, the particles around you will begin collapsing into matter to reflect back to you the energy that which you are. Because consciousness, we won't get into this too much today, but your thoughts become matter. They're both consciousness, like water and ice. And you've just got to hold and maintain the energy of having it in order to actually physically have it externally. That is it. But you break the maintenance of that energy, of that having, the minute that you start looking for it outside you. And that's what keeps most people stuck, as well as the other two things that I mentioned. This one is huge because it goes against our nature. It goes against our logical nature. But if you can master allowing yourself to have it internally and letting that be enough, you will start having things externally so fast. People will wonder how the hell you did that. Is because this is the cheat code. This is how you collapse time. You decide that having it internally is enough, and you're not going to look for it externally. And there is an element of surrender that's included within this. And it's really important that you do surrender. Because if we go back to my Spain example, moving to Spain, if I had been searching and I had this vision, I had this intuition, and I was trying to figure it out and I was trying to make it happen all the time, I would not have happened upon that Facebook post. So I literally, like, once I got this vision, I allowed myself to just play in it. And then I waited for an inspired action, for an intuition on what to do next. I wasn't like forcing, I wasn't looking a million times a day at all these different sites. I was just relaxed. I was just open. I was just feeling like it was already done, which is the major key. And then my intuition was like, check this Facebook group now. And I opened my phone and I checked it and I was like, oh, amazing. And when I went through the process of applying for that room and talking to the person who was renting, I was in the energy of it's already mine. I wasn't saying, I need this. I hope I get it. I wish. I was thinking to myself, it's already mine. It literally was created for me. It's mine already. I'm packing my bags. I'm already there mentally. And that's what allowed me to have it. And it happened super, super quickly. So you've got to surrender and get out of the way. And this is something that the more you can let go and release control, the more you receive. And that is a fact. Okay. So I spoke about this in last week's video, but when you're using your logic to try and force and look for evidence and figure out how it's going to happen, you're getting in the way of the divine unfolding this for you in a way that's best and probably in a way that's fastest as well. There's a quote in the Bible, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. You trying to use your logic, you looking for evidence is you acting as man. It's you making it impossible, but you surrendering to the infinite and to the fact that everything already is created and everything already exists is you literally allowing the impossible to become possible for you. In the infinite quantum field, your desire already exists, but you looking for evidence, you constantly trying to figure out how, is you getting in the way of that thing just coming into your reality. So you've got to let go. Let go and let God, let go and let this thing flow into your life in the way that it needs to, because it's already there. You just have to signal energetically that you already have it, that you feel like you already have it, that you are the identity of the person who already has it, and then let go of everything else. So this is why you might have noticed, and I noticed this in myself and in clients as well, sometimes everything breaks down right before everything breaks through. Right before you access this goal, this dream, whatever it is you're trying to manifest, it seems like everything just falls apart. And one of the key energetic things that happens in this moment of breakdown is the person usually gives up and surrenders. They finally get out of the way. They say, I'm so fed up. Where is it? I'm so done with this. I'm so done looking for this. And in doing that, what they don't realize is they have finally gotten out of the way. They finally stopped looking for evidence. They finally let it go. And that's the moment that it comes in. So you can bypass everything breaking down and everything becoming frustrating by just letting go in the first place. And another reason to tie in with the other point about how you're slowing things down by not addressing your emotional wounds, the other reason why things sometimes seem like they're breaking down right before they break through is because your triggers are coming to the surface so that you can feel them, so that you can purge them, so that you can move into the reality that you've been wanting. Okay. The key component to all of that is to stop looking at reality as just reality, as set in stone, and start realizing the bigger energetic components that are going on. I've had this happen to me over and over and over again, especially in business. I'll be like, oh my God, I've been working so hard. I've been doing all the inner work. Where is the change? Where is the result that I'm wanting? I'm so sick of this. And I'll just give it up and surrender it. And within a day, things will change. I'll start actually seeing the thing that I wanted the whole time. Why? Because I finally got out of the way. So how long does it take for your life to change? It takes as long as it takes for your energy to change. Not 21 days, not a year, not 5 years, but the moment that you change your energy. That is when your life changes. And the thing that stops physical reality from changing after you change your energy is by putting physical reality on a pedestal and looking for the evidence of the change outside you. That's what actually stops you from seeing the change externally reflected back to you. So the moment that everything changes is the moment that you commit to your new identity, to your new self, and you stop looking for that evidence of that change outside you. That is when everything will actually start shifting and transforming before your eyes. The moment you start fully embodying the version of you who's already at the goal is the moment that you start perceiving things differently, you start thinking differently, you start acting differently, and then everything around you becomes different. Okay, that's all for this video, guys. I hope it helped. Please remember, you are not years away. You are not decades away. You are only ever vibrations away. And you've got everything you need inside you right now to feel the way you want to feel and embody the identity of the version of you who's there already. If you want more step-by-step resources on how to actually shift your identity and remove emotional blocks, as well as guided meditations, you can join my private community. I'll leave the link down below. If you're an entrepreneur, creative, or visionary ready to break free from self-doubt, from hustling and burning out in your logic all the time, and you're ready to align with your full potential, you can also find the link below to apply for one-on-one coaching directly with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.